All right, so this is the second tutorial on Excel, using Excel for PUBP 741. And in this tutorial, we're going to actually look at a very simple cost-benefit question to give you a sense of how Excel can help you and how to go about setting up the cost-benefit analysis. So in order to facilitate the tutorial, here is an example question. You are doing a cost-benefit analysis on a highway project. Costs include an immediate payment of $100 and then 2 years of construction costs of $25, each starting next year. Another cost is the disruption to commuters during construction of $5 per year. And benefits include faster commute times that will be equivalent to $40 a year once the project is done. Benefits will go on for 12 years once they start, assume no inflation, and assume a discount rate of 5%. All right, so obviously it's a little bit tough to get that all in as I'm reading it and as you're doing this at home, but essentially there are costs in certain years and there are benefits in certain years, and in general I do think it's a good idea to set up a timeline of these things, so it might be helpful to watch what I do. Right, so I'm going to start just putting in the years and then kind of a simple what will happen in each year. Okay. So I start with year 0. I explained that in class, so I'm not going to explain that again. One trick with Excel is if you know you're going to be going 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, instead of having to type it all out, if you highlight the boxes, one or two boxes, just to establish a pattern. If you go down to the lower right corner until the mouse turns from either a hand or a thick cross, it becomes a very thin cross, just like that. You can kind of drag this down for a while. So let's go to year 16. I'm not saying that there's 16 years of activities, but let's go to year 16. Now again, I read it quickly, but I can tell you that what's going to happen in each year. So in year 0, in other words, immediately, we know that we have an immediate payment of $100. In year 1 and in year 2, we have construction costs. So there are construction costs of $25 and $5. All right, so that's happening years 1 and 2. Year 1 and 2 has identical construction costs. Then we have benefits, and the benefits are going to go on for 10 years, and they're going to be equivalent to $40. So this is going to go on for 10 years, all right, which means that it's going to go from years 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, until year 12. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste that. And then after year 12, nothing happens. All right, so year 13, we've got nothing. Year 14, we've got nothing. And it just goes on like that, right? And if I put in year 17, 18, 19, 20, it would be nothing, right? I should probably even put in forever, right? Forever after 16 years, there's going to be nothing happening. Right, so this is just to give you a better sense of what's happening. There's an immediate payment of $100, construction costs in year 1 and 2, and benefits between years 3 and 12. All right. There's also another interesting piece of information, and that is that there is a discount rate or interest rate of 5%. Okay. And since this is actually pretty important information, I'm going to highlight it. This is a formatting thing. You can look it up in the formatting instructions of Excel. One easy way is to highlight the areas that you want to color, and then you just go to this menu and press it. All right, so just be aware that cell B29 has some very important information. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just build this pretty slowly, and I'm going to lay out my costs and benefits. All right, so if I start with my costs, then I'm going to make that year column again. Sorry. All right, we know that we've got the immediate payment, and that's going to be $100 immediately. Now, we don't have any more payments, kind of one-off payments again. In fact, I've labeled it immediate payment, so that's pretty obvious. And so in year 1, that doesn't show up again. Year 2, that doesn't show up again. And in fact, forever, that will never, ever show up again. So we can show that in terms of the cost, the immediate payment cost, we've got 100, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, our next cost is construction, and there's kind of 2 construction costs. So I'll call this construction 1 and construction 2. Right. And we know that these start in years 1 and they go until year 2. So in year 0, there's nothing. In year 1, we have a cost of $25 and another cost of $25. And then nothing, nothing, nothing. Right, and we can kind of continue that. And for construction cost 2, that was $5 just in years 1 and 2. So I'm just making sure that everything is right, and we go nothing, nothing, and nothing from there on out. All right, so that's it for costs, and now I can add these all up. Right, so total costs. So here's where I'm going to teach the first Excel function that I haven't yet gone over. All right. What I want to do is I want to say our total cost in any given year is going to be equal to column B plus column C plus column D. All right, now I can do that in a couple of ways. I can do equals B33 plus C33 plus D33, right, and copy and paste that all the way down. Another way that I can do that is to say equals the sum, parentheses, of B, and now I'm highlighting B33, C33, and D33. I close the parentheses, and that's it. Whichever one's easiest for you. Again, you can either do equals B33 plus C33 plus D33, or do the sum function, which is equals sum, parentheses, B33 colon D33, close parentheses. Now, I'm going to copy this formula all the way down here. And you see that it does the work for me. Excel has done the work for me. We've got $100 in total costs in year 0 or immediately, $30 in construction costs or total costs in year 1, $30 in year 2, and then no costs from there on out. All right. Very good. Now the next thing we're going to do is get the present value of these things in each year. Okay. Now I can do this kind of manually by typing in equals 100 divided by 1 plus 0.05 to the year 0, and then in year 1 do the kind of the same thing. But remember, if you reference things in your formula cells, then it's going to make life a little bit easier, and you can just copy and paste. So I'm going to use the present value formula, equals whatever is in E, column E, divided by, and here I do my parentheses again. Actually, I do double parentheses just to make sure. 1 plus the interest rate, which we know is in cell B29, to the power of n, the power of the number of years, which is in cell in column A. All right. So let's just go through this again. Equals our cost, 100, divided by 1 plus R, B29, to the power of the year, A33. Okay, very good. There's one other thing that you should do, because we're going to be pasting this formula. I want the B29 cell to remain fixed. I don't want it to be shifting around. We went over this in the first tutorial, And so I'm going to make that a fixed cell by putting $signs before the column and row numbers and letters. And now this is ready to copy and paste. Okay. We've got the present value of costs in year 0, present value of costs in year 1, and present value of costs in year 2. In order to get our total present value of costs, I'm going to add up all of these things, right? It's going to be equal to F33 plus F34 plus F35. The other way of doing that is to say equals sum, and then I'll just say all of these guys and close the parentheses. All right, so now we have our total present value of costs is 155.78. Let's see how our present value of benefits compares. Right, so let's make the same kind of year in rows. We'll go to like 16. All right, and we had only one benefit. We had this vague benefit of, I don't know, driving time, and that was worth $40. Oops, sorry. That was worth $40, but of course you got no benefit of that in year 0. You got no benefit during construction in year 1. You got no benefit during construction in year 2. You only got the benefit starting in year 3, and it goes on for 10 years up until year 12. So 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. And then from after that, after in year 12, there's no benefit again. Right, and that kind of goes on forever. All right, so I don't have to add anything because there's only one benefit. So I can take immediately the present value. And that's going to be equal to whatever is in column B divided by 1 plus, and we got to go back up to our interest rate cell, B29 to the power of the year, which is in the A column. And there we go. And once again, we have to make sure, if you come up with me here to the editor, to put $signs and make sure that that interest rate remains fixed. We're going to copy and paste this formula. Okay, so now we have the present value of each of these things in any given year. I've got to add this up. So total PV, whoopsie, is equal to the sum of all these guys, 280. All right, so our total present value of benefits is 280. How does that compare to the present value of our costs? Present value of costs is 155. Present value of benefits is 280. So clearly benefits exceed costs, and this is a good project to do. All right. So that's how you would do a cost-benefit analysis on Excel. Obviously this is a simple example, but you would just extend this to the more complicated examples.